Thanks, Richard, and thanks, Ceann Corla. I want to welcome the motion, and I really do want to urge Sinn Féin, the movers, to accept our amendment. It's really important that we get our heads around what has just been argued. First, to say that it's very clear that the government's response is half-hearted, it's inadequate to the crisis or the job that we actually need to do to relieve the pressure on many of our citizens. €200 and a 20% cut in public transport fares in the present situation can only be seen as a start and not the end, and the idea that any further support or intervention can wait till the budget is insane and tells us just how out of touch and submerged in your own PR spin that your government are, Minister. And secondly, while presented, as has been said, as some freak of nature or some result of an external disaster like the war in Ukraine, it is clear that a significant portion of the rising costs of fuel, energy, electricity, etc., is not the fault of the workings of the market, but the fault of the market itself. It is far from some quirk of external factors. The hikes faced by ordinary people stem from deregulation, privatisation and the creation of markets in key areas such as electricity generation and supply. And I'd like to remind you, Minister, that in this country we went from having one of the cheapest and most efficient sources of electricity generation in Europe under the ESB before it was deregulated, to having the present disjointed, dysfunctional system with several generators and multiple suppliers, and having one of Europe's most expensive electricity supply prices to our citizens. And this deregulation and proliferation of competing firms has hindered and not helped the provision of cheap, safe, efficient power supplies. For ordinary people, it has been a suffering to ensure that profit, and hyper-profit often, remains the order of the day. Never waste a good crisis or let anything get in the way of profit. And lastly, I'm struck again by the government's narrative on this crisis, and it has echoes in other crises like climate and health. And I do want to ask you, Minister, how the hell, unless we can intervene in the market, are we going to solve the greatest crisis facing us, the crisis of climate?